Okay, so stance and alignment, really important, okay? Because for each shot, and depending on what club that we have, we're gonna need to stand a different distance away from the ball, and the ball is going to be in a different position in our stance. And our setup is gonna change slightly. It's not gonna change completely, but you'll see what I mean when I'm going through this. And I'm gonna go through the stance and the alignment for the 7-iron, the wedge, and the driver, okay? So here we go. So right here, as you can see, I have these alignment rods. If you get a chance, pick these up. I got these at Canadian Tire. They are on sale for, I think, like $2 or $5 each. Really cheap, really good, helpful, useful tool. So I have my wedge in my hand. This is a 50-degree wedge. It's a gap wedge. So as you can see, I made a T, and this ball is now in the middle of my stance, okay? So for the wedge, you want to be shoulder width apart, maybe even a little bit shorter. And we want to take our grip, and we want to have our knees bent just a bit, okay? We don't want to be straight because we don't have very much flexibility when our arms are, when our legs are straight, and we don't want to be too slouched over like this, okay? So we want a little bit of bend in our knees, and as you can see, my foot is a little bit open. We don't want to be too far open, but just a little bit open. And we want this ball with my wedge in the middle of my stance, okay? And with that being said, and the reason why is because with this swing, that we're going to be kind of compressing it. So this is the bottom of the swing, and as you can see, as I continue to swing, the club is beginning to move up, okay? So at this point, this is the bottom of the swing, so we want to kind of hit more of a downward motion naturally in our swing with the wedge, okay? That's what we really want with that, okay? So again, bend your knees a little, and the weight should be on the balls of your feet. So the weight should be right about here when you're doing this swing as well. Your weight should never be on your heels and never be on your toes, because when you're swinging and you're on your heels, then you're going to be moving around a lot. So have the weight on the balls of your feet so you can stay nice and centered like that, okay? So here is the wedge setup. Feet about shoulder width apart. We're going to do our grip. Shoulder, this triangle is pointed toward the shoulder. This triangle is pointed toward this shoulder. And then we just follow through, and we don't get flippy with our hands, okay? We just let the club fall down on the ball and then just let it release, okay? Now I'm going to do the same thing with a 7-iron. So my 7-iron, as you'll notice, it is a little bit more forward in my stance, and I'm going to be taking a little bit wider stance. The reason, this club is a little bit longer, just like that, okay? It's about 1.5 inches longer, okay? So if that's the case, I'm going to need to stand back further, a little bit further back this way, okay? When I had my wedge in my hand, I was probably about here, and now I have my 7-iron in my hand, and I'm about this far, okay? And same thing, this triangle is pointing here, this hand, triangle is pointing here, and I'm more balanced, more stable with the wider stance, and I can follow through. And as you can see, I'm still kind of hitting down and through on the ball. Around this point, you'll start to see the club begin to lift naturally, okay? So keep that in mind. And now I'm going to be hitting my driver, and it's going to be on a tee. So with the driver, look at the difference in the ball position. It's right off my front foot now, okay? And now I got to stand further away, further away. Now it's off my front foot, and this is where I'm making contact. And look at naturally, I'm just going to bring the club back. I'm going to follow through. Look at that club just begin to rise. I'm not pulling it up, I'm just swinging the club. But look, it just begin to rise off the ground. So that's why we always hit the driver on a tee, because at this point here, from here to here, this club is beginning to rise, okay? We don't want to hit down on it. we don't want to hit up on it. We just want this club to naturally come up like this on the ball and make contact in the center and then launch it. If you're going like this, trying to hit down on it, this ball's not going to go very far. If you're trying to hit up on it, it's not going to go very far either. It's just going to go pop up in the air if you hit it. So you want the club to naturally make its path and send this thing flying. So now I'm going to show you these shots in slow motion, and I'm going to show you a side view of me hanging onto my wedge, my 7-iron, and my driver. Okay, so here's a side view of what it should look like. Okay, so again, I have my weight on my balls of my feet. This ball is in the center of my stance. I have a wedge, just like so, and my triangle is pointing here, and then I have my other hand, and the triangle is pointing here, and there we are. Okay, and I'm comfortable, and I have everything pointing this way. I have my shoulders, my feet are pointed that way, my knees, my hips are all pointed this way, and this is a wedge. Okay, now here is a 7-iron. Ball is a little bit more forward in my stance, and see, the only thing that has changed is a little bit of my stance, but the ball is a little bit more forward now, and I'm a little bit further away. That's the only thing that's changed. Okay, now my driver, I brought a tee for this, and pretty much same setup is that I am closer, and there we go. I'm further away, I'm closer to you, and the ball is on the front of on the back of my front heel, and so then I can hit that. And yeah, so that's the difference between the driver, the 7-iron, and the wedge. Okay, now I'm going to take a couple shots just to see the swing, so you guys can see the swing in full motion. So hopefully you were able to see in those slow motion videos that my hands were ahead of the ball when I was making impact. And not only that, but you could see the ball position move progressively forward in each one of those swings. With the 7-iron, it moved a little bit forward, and then with the driver, it moved all the way to the front off my heel, my front heel there, so it was right on the front. And yeah, and as I was making impact, my hands were ahead of the ball. Okay, so that's what you always want to do. You see that in chipping and pitching, that my hands were ahead of the ball. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully these videos were helpful to you. Please like, share, and subscribe. I have these videos on my YouTube channel, and I want to thank the Indigenous Sport and Wellness Ontario just for partnering with me on these videos, just to bring these golf lessons to you. So go out there and practice, and make sure that you practice the proper stance, the grip pressure, and ball position. All right, have a good time and make lots of putts, make lots of great shots, and really enjoy this year of golf. See you later.